Hi, hello, welcome to Bible Journaling with Leanne. This is our Good Friday special, and today we're going to be creating in Mark's Gospel. Just to run through the tools that we're going to use, I've got my Heat It Craft tool to dry my paint. I've got a small light box that fits in between the pages of my Bible to trace with. I also have my watercolour set, and this is my mock-up sheet to show me what the colours look like. I also have a rubber, pencil, pens, 2 pots of water, one to wash my brushes in and one to pick up the paint. And also not forgetting, of course, my washi tape that I'm going to use to tape my traceable into my Bible. So I've called today When the Cockerel Crowed, and today we'll be tracing a cockerel's tail into our Bible. We're going to be in Mark's Gospel, looking at that story of when Jesus first predicted that the disciples would turn away from him and Peter would deny him, and then going on to when Peter did deny him 3 times in that courtyard, until finally the cockerel crowed and Peter broke down and wept. It's a passage I wanted to focus on today because it captures for me that moment on Good Friday where you realise that everything's changed. And Peter had that moment just before. But I also wanted to capture that feeling of hope, that awareness that we know that God is a God who keeps his promise. So I'm creating this cockerel's tail using the rainbow colours. And I'm just showing you how I set my light box up. You can see I've got my traceable picture there, and I'm just attaching it with washi tape to the light box. Getting it into position, making sure it fits right into the crease of my Bible, and then taping it down. This washi tape doesn't quite hold it like I hope, so I have to try a few times, but eventually it goes into place. And this process is all really forgiving. You can just keep trying until you get it to work the way you want it to. If you don't have a small light box, you can trace it the traditional way, you can use carbon paper to trace it, or you can even use your phone or tablet and use that as a light box underneath your Bible page in order to paint over the top. Now, if you don't have a light box, I'd advise that you trace the picture with a pencil first and just get the outline sitting how you want. But if you have a light box, this is the fun of it really. You don't have to trace with pencil. You can get that kind of professional finish of not having any outlines or pencil lines to rub out later. You can just go straight in over the top of your image and just paint and have fun with your colours. So I'm just going to be going through the rainbow colours here, painting each shape, each feather outline as I go through each one. I'm not worrying too much about waiting for anything to dry. I quite like that effect of when the rainbow colours run into each other a bit, and I think that gives a more natural effect on the feathers. So while I'm painting there, I'm just going to read to you Mark chapter 14, starting at verse 27. Then Jesus said to them, "All of you will fade away, because it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you to Galilee." Peter told him, "Even if everyone falls away, I will not." "Truly I tell you," Jesus said to them, "today, this very night, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. But he kept insisting, "If I have to die with you, I will never deny you." And they all said the same thing. So that's the first part of our Bible passage this evening. And if you just go back to where I'm painting, I've just gone over a few of the feathers just to give a bit more depth. In some places I've just added extra depth at the tail ends and some right through into the middle. And then in some places where I want to even up how the colours have blended together, I've just picked up some water on my brush and gone over it just with clear water, just to smooth out how that finish looks. After this, I'm going to go over some of the feathers with a product called Sparkle. It's by Spectrum Noir, and it just adds a shimmer and that iridescent shine to some of the feathers, which I think is perfect for something like this. The second part of our Bible passage is Mark 14, but starting at verse 66. While Peter was in the courtyard below, one of the high priest's maidservants came. When she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with Jesus, the man from Nazareth." But he denied it. "I don't know or understand what you're talking about." Then he went out into the entryway, and a rooster crowed. When the maidservant saw him again, she began to tell those standing nearby, "This man is one of them." But again he denied it. After a little while, those standing there said to Peter again, "You certainly are one of them, since you're also Galilean." Then he started to curse and swear, "I don't know the man you're talking about." Immediately, a rooster crowed a second time, and Peter remembered when Jesus had spoken the word to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you'll deny me 3 times." And he broke down and wept. So I've dried off my painting with my heat tool, and now I'm just going through and just using my pencil to work out where I want to put some lettering, what I want to say. To me, what stands out most in this passage is those last few lines, "And he broke down and wept." That realisation of what he'd done, the realisation of what he'd said, the fact that Jesus did know exactly what he was going to do. The very thing he denied, the very thing he was absolutely determined never to do, and he'd done it. I'm sure there was many reasons why he did. He was scared, fearful, in shock. His whole world had changed. It makes you act in ways that you never think that you would. And through everything that's happening at the moment in the world with the coronavirus, it makes us do, say and act in ways that are different to what we maybe hoped that we would. And maybe as we realise that we didn't react in the way that we hoped, it makes us want to break down and cry. Or maybe it's the way somebody else has reacted. And it shocks us. It scares us. But there's hope, because God is a God who keeps his promises. We see that over and over and over again through the whole Bible. And so Peter can still trust him, and we can still trust him, and we can look to his word and see those echoes of forgiveness and wholeness and truth. That's going to give us hope as we go through this season. So that's this page finished for now, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.